Today, welcome back on our nightcap.
Welcome.
Carlos and Chantel here, and we're going to be talking about confidence, a secret weapon for confidence that will truly
Today, welcome back on our nightcap.
Welcome.
Carlos and Chantel here, and we're going to be talking about confidence, a secret weapon for confidence that will truly.
Sorry about that. Had things playing in the background. Goodness. But we are going to talk about confidence today and what brings more confidence in our life. So we're getting used to this new stuff on here. Sorry about that. They updated things on Zoom. So it
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now? We'll start fresh. All right. Today we're going to talk about one huge thing that will truly raise your level of confidence. So if you've been lacking confidence, there's probably a reason why. And so I'm Carlos, and this is my beautiful bride, Chantel.
Yes.
And we are experts in epic marriage. We love to bring people to the next level in their relationships, and we love marriage because we love each other.
Yes.
We have a lot of fun with it too.
So, welcome to our nightcap. This is our place where we kind of just process our day. After, lots of mentorship, we have lots of revelation, and we've worked through a lot of things, and we like to bring it to you to share discoveries and fun topics. And I've been talking about it all day because something that we had discovered, well, we chose to press in a little bit to something that kind of fires us up in when we are dealing with our clients. My background is working with abused and neglected kids for 11 years, and really now adults for the last another 12 years. So recognizing that my gifts and my talents and my skill set is to help people move through trauma. And, this is a topic that fires me up so deeply because of the residual effects that it has on people.
So I think, first of all, one thing that as we get into confidence, why is it that you lack confidence? What are the potential reasons why you lack confidence? I don't think we talk about this enough in life. So there's three things that we have found that will truly lower your confidence, and that is the way that you were raised is a huge part of it. So the example that you had growing up, the example of, were your parents confident? Were they confident in their marriage? Were they confident in their relationship with each other? Were they confident in the way they spoke? And then that's another thing. Did they allow you to speak? Were you able to talk, or were you only meant to be seen and not heard? Did you get pushed down and told, shut up, we don't care what you think? Or you were told that it was disrespectful. We've heard a lot of disrespectful talk and speak to adults, or when adults are talking, you're not supposed to talk because you're a child. So the example you had growing up, your parents and those around you, the adults you looked up to, their lack of confidence. Number two is your confidence was pushed down because you were not heard or seen and allowed to be heard or seen. And then final thing is your value. What do you establish value off of? What makes you believe that you're valuable? What makes you believe that you're worthy? We have a process that it literally tells you to say, I am worthy. You are worthy, right? In our process, we say, God, you're worthy. Then we say, Carlos, you're worthy. And then I say, I am worthy. And then I say, Chantel, you're worthy. And then I start with my oldest kids to my youngest kids. And if they're present, I tell Hazel, she's worthy. right? We say what we're grateful for about them and then what they are worthy of. There's a thing that happens in the heart is good. Believe me, I know some of these people personally. And by the way, I was one of them. I'll just tell my own story first. I was one of them that used to say and believe, I'm not worthy. Only God is worthy. And even that word, I am not worthy, appeared to be a holy, spiritual thing to say, humble thing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard that? Now, maybe you come from a different background than I do. I was born and raised in church, and that was just a thing. Like, that was super appropriate to say. But you know where it comes from. Now, the principle or the idea of it, to say that God is the only one who's worthy, but let's not stop there, because that's not what it says. When you look, if you're going to use the Bible, whether it's the Torah or the canon, the scriptures, if you're going to use them, then use them to the fullness of what it says. It never says only God is worthy. It actually says, every time it says it, it says only God is worthy of praise and glory. Only the God of Jacob, Isaac, and Israel. Because in Abraham, excuse me. And it was referring to the fact that people were putting other gods before the God of Abraham. So, hi. Are you heading out or something? We're not live, but come in and say hi. Our daughter always has permission to interrupt us, so we're on live Zoom with the world, YouTube. So it's all good. They say hi, Hazel. We'll be done shortly. So, worthy. Worthy builds confidence to believe you're worthy. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about worthy. What do you believe and why about worthy?
Yeah, so that was the question that was brought up today, and we talked about it on the women's call. So I know that you did a deep dive, and so we would love to hear your perspective. So a lot of things came up in regards to generationally, right? And Carlos talked a little bit about that as far as like, your parents and what they experienced. And so recognizing that it's not out of a heart that is to cause harm, right? It's simply because of what is understood, what has been communicated to them, right? And the same thing goes from, the people in the church, passed down from one pastor to the next pastor. It can be differ from religion to religion, but it's all based on translations and perspective. So, the encouragement that we have is to really press into understanding what you believe and why you believe it, okay, and where it comes from. So I think sometimes we just hear something and we regurgitate it without actually understanding why we believe that. We just do because somebody said it. You know what I mean? And so here, we have, we as human beings, we always have a response. We have our thoughts, our feelings, and there are circumstances that we go through in life that can cause us to feel worthless. Okay. And those feelings are valid. So then what happens when we go to church on Sunday and the worship leader is singing and they're saying, we're not worthy? What does that do unconsciously to our spirit? it solidifies a belief of worthlessness. Okay.
That's good.
And was that the intention biblically? Right? So what is being projected from the pulpit, from teachers, leaders, with the heart of, this is the posture that we have for humility and honor. If life and death is in the power of the tongue, what is that seed that is actually being planted? What is solidifying in our spirit and that our heart is agreeing with in that moment? And what is the repercussions of that down the line? What does it do to our mindset? What does it do to our ability to, or our confidence, right? Our ability to move forward somewhere, our even belief that we can accomplish a goal that we set before us, that we can create a vision for our life. There's roots.
Yeah.
And if we understand the truth of what is said biblically, we don't have to fall into the confusion of translation.
So first of all, I'm not worthy is very common. Can we admit that? Have you heard it? I love to hear feedback from people. I used to say, God, I'm not worthy, but yet you still love me. I'm not worthy, and yet you died for me. I'm not worthy, but you covered me with your blood, right? There's so many different ways you could say it, and it sounds so good in the sense of, wow, that guy is really like being humble. Or if you give a good word, right? Or you're teaching well at church and you say, but all the glory goes to God because I'm not worthy of the glory, right? A lot of people say that. I'm not worthy of the glory. Okay, so I want you to understand, though, what that word worthy means. And then what's interesting is then we work on Epic 30 through our Epic 30 process of telling you to say worthy, that person's worthy, God's worthy, I am worthy, she's worthy, my kids are worthy. And it's like, wait a second, I've been told in church, and I'll tell you even how this came out for me. This came out for me because the very first time we were doing this process of gratitudes, and you can call it edification if that helps you, gratitudes and edification, we call it gratitudes and worthies, but it is really about edification. When you talk about edification and lifting people up, that's in the Bible. People are like, oh yeah, that's a good one. But as soon as you say the word worthy, all of a sudden they're like, oh, whoa, whoa, only God is worthy. Only God is worthy. Like I hear that all the time. It's like, oh my goodness. All right, so let's go there. What does that mean when it says, where did that come from, first of all? Mm-hmm. Because it's important for you to know that I am not worthy is actually only one place in the Bible. One place. I did a search. That phrase, I am not worthy, is only one place, and it has to do with the centurion when he came to Jesus requesting that Jesus would come to his house, or requesting that his daughter be healed. Okay. Now he says, I am not worthy, but if you just take it as the translation of the word worthy, you missed it. And you can then say that, well, see, I'm not this centurion, because look what it says. The cool thing about what it says, and this is why we all want to be the centurion, because watch what Jesus says about the centurion. I want you to say that about me, because watch, he says, he is the only God worthy of, I'm sorry, let's go back to this guy. I got to find it again. Sorry. Lost my place here. Where the centurion says, let me pull it up again. I'm sorry. Centurion, I looked up so many other things, says, I am not worthy. Okay, Matthew 8:8. Quote from the Bible says, Lord, I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof, but only say the word, and my servant will be healed. Okay? And so the cool thing, the reason why that's such a cool thing, right? And then we all want to be like that, is because literally then it goes on to say in so that is Matthew 8:8, Jesus gives them a huge compliment. He says, I'm gonna pull it up too because it's really cool. And it didn't show it there. Sorry. Matthew 8:8. All right. So then Jesus praises the centurion for his faith. He says, I am not worthy. And then, okay. But only speak and he'll be healed. For I also am a man of under authority, having soldiers under me. And he says, and say this to me, go, and goes, and to another come and comes, and to my servant do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard it, he marveled and said, those who followed, assuredly I say to you, I have not found such a great faith, not even in Israel. Okay, so all of a sudden we go, oh, this is a man of great faith. So then what religion does is grab a hold of that and go, if the centurion said it, we should say it. However, it's not the worthy you think it is. That's the challenge. So we shouldn't use the word worthy there because it's not what you think it is. That word actually means competence, skill level. My competence is not there to understand what you can do for healing. You just say the word, just like anybody else that has higher level of authority than I do, it's going to be done. So you're a healer. I've seen the miracles and stuff you've done. You just say it and it's going to happen.
Wow.
My competence is not there to comprehend this. Do you know what competence means? And that word worthy is all the other places in the Bible. It is shall come, will come, has come, like competence and things that to come. So it had nothing to do with what you think worthy means. But let me tell you why this has come so prevalent in the Christian churches. You ready for this? The history of that phrase goes back to the centurion, but wait, there's more. In Catholic Mass, this is not a dig on Catholicism. I was actually sprinkled in the Catholic Church. I'm half Mexican. I'm just telling you where it comes from. This is truth. Go look it up. I'm not making this up. In Catholic Mass, the phrase, Lord, I am not worthy, is spoken by the congregation just before receiving communion. I actually kind of knew this because I'd been in few masses. I've sang at them, funerals. My dad's side of the family, Mexican, the Campo side, are all Catholic, most of them. And so a lot of them, when there's deaths and we have the funeral, we go to the Catholic Church and we experience Mass. So I've been in them. And you're supposed to recite, and I used to recite it too, thinking that, yeah, this sounds good. Lord, I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof, but only say the word and my soul shall be healed. Look how it changed. My soul shall be healed. So now me not being worthy is what brings healing to my soul. You see where that can lead? That's not what the centurion said, first of all. Second of all, never do you see Jesus saying, this is what you should say, or this is what you should pray, or this is the phrase you should say. And that's not what the centurion said, but yet that's where this comes from the church. That, the roots of the church are, let's just be real, are from Catholicism. The Christian church comes out of Catholicism. So the habit of saying that is not even biblical. The centurion should have said, for Lord, I am not competent. He shouldn't have said word, because that's the real definition there. For I am not competent. So just say the word and I will go, it will happen. I know it will. That's what it should say there. So out of that, though, now the phrase that is at every communion service from Catholicism. So if your religion or your church comes from Catholicism in any way, there's a good chance that your leaders are probably saying this same thing. And like I said, I used to say it, but it's, if you really understand what it means, you're degrading yourself. Yeah. And Jesus and God said the opposite in the Bible, actually to edify and lift up, not to degrade. So it says this, Lord, I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof, but only say the word and my soul shall be healed. That's what they say before communion. And the purpose of it, this is a moment of humility and reflection. This is the purpose, acknowledging one's unworthiness before the holiness of God. and seeking his healing and grace. So again, the purpose in the slow history, and I'm not saying I'm expert on Catholic Church, Catholicism, but really that's because they believe during that communion situation that you are going before the holiness of God, seeking his healing and grace. So that's like a new salvation every time you're doing communion, from the way I understand. Very simple and late. I'm not explaining it the right way. Go find a good priest and he'll tell you. I mean, I'm not saying I know, but understanding that's the intention behind it, it sounds very humble and very appropriate. But it's not freedom.
Yeah.
That's what I want to say to you.
Well, and it's actually confusion, right? It brings confusion because the truth is we are created in his image. If I am created in his image, I am highly valuable.
That's right.
So what do we believe about ourselves? And it translates in every part of our lives.
Now, let's go to another verse about worthy, though, because this is super appropriate. Because one of our guys, we were doing this in that we kind of broke this down in the men's group. And I said, please bring me some verses that talk about worthy and whether you're worthy or not to, receive God, or whether you're worthy enough. Like, I am not worthy. What would constitute I am not worthy? And someone brought a really good verse. And I was like, that's good. Thank you for bringing that. Let's break it down. And it says this: anyone who loves their father or mother more than me. This is Jesus talking. Let's see. Let me confirm that. I believe it was Jesus talking. Yeah. Yep. Or above me is not worthy of me. Anyone who loves their father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Anyone who loves their son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. So you're not worthy if you love your parents more than God. Well, that sounds good to you. And I'm not, again, God is supposed to be first. I get that. Honoring and loving him first. But what is the intention of this? Let's talk about what's really being said there. And what does that worthy mean? Because this is where it will help bring some clarity. That worthy, when you look it up, it is under, this is Matthew 10:37. Okay. That word is, the root word is weight or worthy. Okay. And then when you go, excuse me, that's the word that they translated to worthy. But when you go deeper, there's a word from the Greek that means it's spelled AGO. And guess what that means? To carry. Okay, so I want to, okay, now maybe they didn't catch that. To carry. All right. So if we now say that verse and we reread that with the to carry, and we say, anyone who loves their father more than me, I'm not going to carry you. If you want to depend on your parents instead of me, let them carry you. Has nothing to do with value again. Has to do what he was willing to do for us. And guess what? We talked about this, didn't we? Your parents' experience is their parents' experience. Just replay until somebody is willing to question the fact that I'm not supposed to say I'm not worthy. I am worthy. I am valuable. I am created in his image, so I'm very worthy. And plus, the way that I'm going to be able to receive, believe, and receive value is to believe and receive that I'm worthy. That word means to be valuable. And that is what God intended for us to do, to edify each other and to lift each other up so we can accomplish our dreams and goals. But we first must believe and then receive. And to receive, you truly have to recognize that you're valuable enough to receive. Mm-hmm. And so this is freedom in the sense of what we want to help you with, to know you're valuable and to know you're worthy. But if you take things out of context, or if you take something that a centurion said that had nothing to do with value, and you equate that, and then you quote it over and over and over again, and you hear church leaders as an example, or people you look up to that say, I am not worthy.
Solidify that seed.
It makes you feel like if I
spirit.
do believe I'm worthy, then I'm not walking with God. That's what it comes down to. That I'm not spiritual. That I'm not sanctified, because only God is worthy. Look, here's the reality. When you look at what was happening in Matthew about the kids and the parents, it was because they were putting them before God and they were relying on them, just like you have done. Your example of your parents, you're getting stuck in doing the same thing your parents did. Guess what? You can't do that anymore. You got to rely on what God is saying, and you got to look for the truth. That will set you free. I mean, because even that thing that says, you got to be unworthy to be around God or in his presence. Well, then what does that do? That makes me stay a victim, and I can be controlled. I want you to be free. So the biggest thing, that if you hear nothing else, if you want more confidence, go study, especially if you're a believer. Go study that word and understand what it's really saying. Go to the definitions that won't be influenced by somebody's understanding or lack of understanding for the English language. Go to the definition and then you decide. That's why I was able to even see the different kinds of worthies that they use for the English, and that obviously we see one of them should have said competence. The other one should have said carry. Look, if you want your parents to carry you, great. But if you want God or Jesus to carry you, then you'll choose him first. You'll let him carry you. Or you can use your kids and your parents as a scapegoat and say, well, this is how they taught me, or my kids made me do it, and this is why. That's a scapegoat. God says, or Jesus said, let me carry you. I'm the one that's willing to carry you through it, if you'll let me.
So the truth is, every single one of us can be empowered to press in to what is taught, right? If something doesn't feel right in your spirit, or is associated with a limiting belief, press in. Know what you believe and why about it, and look deeper. You have the power to do so, and we want to encourage you. We want to empower you to dig in, dig deeper beyond what translations say, generations have said before.
Cliches, religious statements.
Yeah.
Question everything in a good way, in an honoring, respecting way. I appreciate Judaism for this.
Yeah.
They have what's called midrashes. Man, they have freaking heated arguments about what this means, this definition means. They go back to the original definitions, and then they come up with their own translation based on the definitions, and they argue about it. It's great. And they have great arguments. They get really passionate, angry. I'd love to do it sometime. I'm going to go to Israel and do it sometime. And then they all hug at the end and say, this was a great discussion. They hug each other and love each other, and they're friends when they walk out of there. And they learn from each other because they're all passionate that are there. So what I want to say to you, if you really, in this digital age, you have no excuses, okay? Go get Bible Hub. If you're a believer and you like studying the Bible, you have no excuses. It's free. And in Bible Hub, you can break down a verse and get to the definitions in seconds, okay? Therein lies some freedom. And I hope this is helpful to you. If you like this stuff, let us know. We'll break down some more stuff. Ask us some questions, because what do we want to do? We want to build your confidence. And knowing what you believe and why, woo,
It's power.
You don't have to believe like I do, but you have to know what you believe and why, and hold on to that. That will build your confidence more than anything. And that's what we talk about. So if you want more of this stuff, we'd be glad to give you some more things, but it's all about, for us, the cores of what we want to do to help you in your marriage and your relationship is the 3 C's of connection: confidence, communication, and commitment. It's vital if you want to improve your relationships. This is a series or a section on confidence, and we hope it's helpful to you. Know what you believe and why. God bless you
Right.
guys.
Have a great evening.